Welcome to the Certificate Program in Nursing and Nutrition, or CPNN. Today, we will cover the module entitled Addressing Common Parental Concerns in Complementary Feeding. On completing this session, participants will be able to effectively address and manage a few common parental concerns regarding complementary feeding, such as how to introduce new foods, what foods to avoid, queries about sugar consumption, and screen time during feeding. Let us begin. Hunger and satiety cues in infants are important to prevent overfeeding. It is a part of the responsive feeding as established by the World Health Organization. An infant is hungry if she or he points to food, opens the mouth when a spoon or food is offered, and is excited to see food. Also, his or her hand motions and sounds indicate that the child is still hungry. On the other hand, a child may communicate satiety by pushing food away, closing the mouth when food is offered, and by turning the head away. In some cases, the child may also shake its head in a no motion. Similarly, hand motions and sounds show that the child does not want to eat anymore. Overfeeding in infancy can lead to overweight and obesity late in life, and hence is not recommended. Delaying the introduction of complementary foods is not advisable, as it may lead to an infant developing nutritional deficiencies. Moreover, it can also result in the infant missing out on the period of developmental readiness. Consequently, the infant may have difficulties learning to eat complementary foods when introduced later. Introducing complementary foods too late may also increase the risk of developing food allergies. It is important to explain to caregivers that infants who are not introduced to complementary foods on time experience the following problems. They may refuse foods that are introduced at a later age, as they are more comfortable with the easier feeding style of sucking from the breast or consuming breast milk alternatives. Consequently, infants face difficulty developing skills to eat. Next, infants may not consume an adequate variety and amount of food to meet their nutritional needs. This is because neither breast milk nor breast milk alternatives solely provide an adequate concentration or balance of nutrients for older infants or children. How should new foods be introduced to an infant? It is important to gradually introduce new foods to infants. The following are some of the guidelines to be followed before introducing new foods to infants. It is best to introduce infants to one new single food at a time. For example, a plain cereal and a fruit must be introduced separately before being fed together. This helps to determine their acceptance of each food. A gap of 3 to 5 days between the introduction of each new food is advisable. This helps identify signs of allergy, such as rashes, wheezing, diarrhea, or intolerance before another new food is introduced. Starting slowly also means introducing small amounts, such as 1 to 2 teaspoons of the new food, so that the infant can adjust to the taste, flavor, and texture. This also prevents choking. Once the infant has accepted the food, the quantity can be increased according to age and appetite. Infant cereals are among the popular first foods introduced to infants in many countries. Cereals are better accepted by infants due to their mild taste and semi-solid texture and consistency. This is adequate for the transition from milk to solid foods at the beginning of complementary feeding. Infant cereals make the cut because they are a good source of energy. In addition, cereals also provide other nutrients, such as carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and bioactive compounds. Traditionally prepared homemade complementary feeds could fall short on iron and zinc. Cereals can be fortified with minerals and vitamins, thus fulfilling the infant's high nutrient needs. However, most importantly, iron-fortified infant cereals are important to tackle depleting iron stores in infants. Thus, the World Health Organization recommends fortified complementary foods or vitamin-mineral supplements for infants as needed. Starting with single-grain infant cereals is recommended, as they are easy to digest, easily acceptable, and non-allergenic. Their taste and texture can be altered to suit your infant's needs. They can be added to homemade foods to enhance nutrition and flavor. Vegetarian or plant-based complementary foods do not provide enough iron and zinc to meet the needs of 6 to 23-month-old infants. The addition of animal foods is recommended. Alternatively, fortified foods are suggested to fulfill the nutrient needs of infants. Adding a variety of vegetables to the child's diet greatly ensures micronutrient needs are met. Vegetables must be part of the infant's daily diet. Can juices, tea, and coffee be offered to infants? It is best to avoid providing drinks of low nutrient value, such as tea, coffee, and sugary drinks. Sugary drinks should be avoided because they decrease the child's appetite for more nutritious foods. Tea and coffee contain compounds that inhibit iron absorption and are not recommended for young children. Here is a list of foods that are best avoided and other foods that can be limited as there are healthier alternatives to them. Firstly, foods high in salt and/or sugar should not be included in an infant's diet. Thus, foods with added sugar, such as 100% fruit juice, candies, cakes, cookies, and foods with added salt, such as processed meats, canned foods, snacks, must be limited. It is best to choose whole fruits, fresh vegetables, meats, and water instead. Feeding honey and any products with honey to infants must be avoided. This is because it can cause serious food poisoning called botulism. Any other products, such as honey cereals, honey yogurt, or crackers that have honey in them, are avoided. As we have discussed in the previous module, cow's milk is best avoided for children below a year for various reasons. Raw, unpasteurized foods, such as raw milk, cheese, uncooked eggs, are also avoided, as they can carry harmful bacteria that can cause the infant to fall ill. In addition to these, some foods can also be a choking hazard. Whole nuts, big chunks of hard vegetables and fruits, fish with bones are among such foods. See supplementary reading material for age-wise choking hazards. Are sugars harmful to infants? Sugar is a good source of energy. However, it has no other nutrients. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, consumption of excess of sugar through foods or drinks during early years of life increases the child's risk for tooth decay, obesity, heart disease, high cholesterol, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver disease, among other health issues. The American Academy of Pediatrics suggests providing less than 25 grams, that is, about 5 teaspoons of added sugar per day for children 2 years of age and older, and avoiding providing food and drinks with added sugar to children under 2 years of age. Added sugar means sugar that is added to processed, packaged food and drinks during manufacturing or when added at the table. The following tips can help reduce sugar in an infant's diet. Providing water and milk instead of soda, sports drinks, sweet tea, sweetened coffee, and fruit drinks. Milk not only contains a natural sugar called lactose, but also provides calcium, protein, vitamin D, and other nutrients that children need. An infant's sweet tooth can be satisfied with whole fruit. 100% fruit juices have more sugar per serving than the whole fruit. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends against providing fruit juice to infants under 1 year old, and no more than 4 ounces of 100% fruit juice a day for children aged 1 through 3 years. It is easy to avoid adding extra sugar to an infant's food while preparing, but caution needs to be practiced while purchasing food. Caregivers must be encouraged to read food labels. Sugar can be in the form of brown sugar, corn sweetener, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, honey dextrose, fruit juice concentrates, invert sugar, malt sugar, molasses, raw sugar, turbinado, and ingredients ending in OSE. Healthy snacking in children can be promoted by keeping snacks handy. Some ideas for healthy snacks include fruits which are peeled, pitted, and sliced to prevent choking, dried fruits such as dates, prunes, raisins, dried apples, and peaches also make for healthy snacks. Soft vegetables such as tomatoes, cucumbers, avocado slices can be provided. Steamed and sliced carrots, cauliflower, broccoli are also some options. Protein foods such as cooked fish, meat, beans, hard-boiled eggs, tofu slices can also be provided. Protein dips such as hummus, nut butters can be provided along with fruit and vegetable slices. Dairy products such as cottage cheese, cheese sticks, yogurt can also be healthy snacks. In addition to these, whole grain breads, air-popped popcorn, rice cakes, crackers, tortilla chips can be considered too. Screen time simply means the time infants or children spend in front of a screen for entertainment. According to the World Health Organization, screen time is not recommended for infants less than 1 year of age, and screen time should be restricted to no more than 1 hour for infants and young children between 1 and 4 years of age. The lesser the screen time, the better. How can screen time be curtailed during meals? Research finds that children who consume meals watching TV or mobile screens have a higher risk of obesity due to mindless food intake and due to exposure to advertisements for unhealthy foods. The following tips can be provided to caregivers to help tackle screen time. Parents must avoid or set forth a 1-hour screen time limit, according to the recommendations for each age group. While helping children, it is important to be good role models by limiting parents' screen time too. Scheduling outdoor playtime, family conversation time is crucial. Getting toddlers involved in gardening, cooking, and cleaning are some ways to get them interested in food and nutrition. If screen time cannot be eliminated, consider watching an educational program along with children. Ideally, watch programs in which advertisements can be skipped or fast-forwarded. In summary, while introducing new foods, the following are suggested. Introducing a single food at a time, giving small quantities, and ensuring a gap of 3 to 5 days between the introduction of each new food. Traditionally prepared homemade as well as plant-based complementary foods do not provide enough iron and zinc. Fortified foods are suggested to fulfill the nutrient needs of infants. Several foods and drinks such as juices, coffee, tea, honey, foods high in salt or sugar, and foods that pose a choking hazard must be limited or avoided. Excessive sugar intake during the early years of life is associated with health issues. Therefore, sugar intake must be restricted to less than 5 teaspoons per day. Screen time during meals increases the risk of obesity and must, therefore, be avoided or restricted, according to health recommendations.